Here we are for tonight. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session here on Horde of Tales. Good to see everyone here. We're in with the full force tonight again, and we're going to play some D&D. My name is Marcus, also known as the Chindividual, and I am accompanied by my four fantastic players here, and whatever kind of day it is in your time zone. How are you all tonight?
Doing great.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Doing good.
Doing good, doing great.
Had
Nice.
beer and pizza for dinner. Totally
Mm.
adulting.
Wow,
I
that's
mean, could be
tasty.
worse.
I'm jealous. I
Beer
just
and
had a
pizza
snack.
is always good
I'll
for
probably
dinner.
I'll probably have more dinner later.
Good.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm also doing fine. Talking about adulting, I've been doing some adulting and later more adulting this week, which is part of being an adult.
Oh,
But
speaking of adulting, and part of being an adult is getting older. Are we going to have a session next week?
we're going to have a session next week, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're referencing to. So we're just going to
Okay.
have a session next week.
Okay.
This is totally not due to the DM does not become older. The DM is not
That
getting older.
particular
No.
day next
I am
week.
I am a fey creature that is perpetually stuck in this age, and I do not age.
I have proof otherwise.
That is a lie and libel. So
I will take advantage for the whole night to not release this proof.
How about we change topics and we
Let's go.
Exactly. Before we dive into tonight's session, let's go through our typical announcements. You are here by your own free will or by coincidence at the Horde of Tales channel, where we do play at this current point D&D. We are currently playing a D&D campaign set in the Eberron campaign setting, and we are playing the adventures of the Convergence Manifesto. We are in the second adventure, Live Another Day, where our characters are dealing with some harpies, the various people of Droaam, and enjoying themselves here. If you like what you see on this channel and you want to play these adventures yourself, you can check them out at acrosseberron.com. As our virtual tabletop, we use Astral VTT, and the character art that you will see later here and maybe at other places in the stream is created by Serial and Caro. The overlay that you see here used for the stream is also created by Caro. Finally, one special thing that we do got going on this channel is our cat vantage. If you have enough channel points and you see a cat appearing here on my screen or on Austin's screen, you can press that cat vantage button, exchange your channel points, and give one of the players, and with players there is also the GM included in that, you can give them cat vantage, which means that they can take advantage on their next roll. Now, we've already seen it happen on this show that cat vantage was given and was used. So if you spot a chance, use those channel points and give cat vantage to our lovely players or to the GM, however you like. With that being said,
To mess with the game. It'll be fun.
exactly. With that being said, how about we go over to our intro and then get the show on the road for tonight, or whatever time it is at your place. We'll be right there. So, and here we are back. We were absolutely not talking about getting older. We were just having some pre-banter about tonight's session and to refresh our memories for today. Last time when we met our adventurers, they were dealing with the harpies of the Shining Valley, having allowed to stay in the valley for a night, unbeknownst to the harpies, to charge a certain sapphire. Our adventurers took advantage of a little bit of free time and went their own ways. Rebus and Dythun went to explore the village and get to know the local culture, while Rayn and Delphine had a little bit of time by themselves, swimming in a nice little pool to a waterfall and just enjoying a little bit of off time. However, things were not meant to stay calm, as alarms were raised by the harpies as there were some intruders coming from the tunnels. Our adventurers were sure to also see how they could help, and after some chasing and some running, came to the edges of the village, out into the, well, wilderness of the Shining Valley, where our separate duos engaged with different invaders, probably related to the scouts that you met earlier in the tunnels. We ended the session as Delphine had just one of those scouts at her feet, pointing her finely crafted pistol at them. And Rebus had just set off, climbing up on one of the cliff edges after remarking quite critically towards Dythun if he had any doing in this. And we are actually gonna pick up at the moment as where we faded out last time. Delphine standing over the goblin she already shot once, who has now raised his blade in defiance, looking at her. Our half-elf having her gun pointed at the goblin, while you can hear some sounds of other people rushing about in the undergrowth. Delphine, with your gun pointed at this goblin, what would you like to do?
So I look at this goblin, gun pointed, still like unusually cold, and voice seems like completely turned into ice. You hear her say, "No one hurts my mates and gets away without paying for it." And I shoot him.
All right. Give me an attack roll. Which you, thanks to your feet, do not get disadvantage on.
Please, please, please. Oh God, thank God. This is 20 total.
Oh yeah, that certainly hits. Roll for damage.
That are 12 points of damage.
You're not sure what went through the goblin's mind when he pulled his blade from his belt, raising it up, brandishing it towards you in some kind of act that was maybe an attempt to try to get out of the situation, to intimidate, to be brave. But his reflexes are surely not fast enough to parry a bullet or anything with his blade. And as you stand there, the sound of the bullet leaving the gun ringing in your ears, you see that you hit him right between chest and belly. And the goblin falls on its back and just lies there, life fading away from him.
Rayn looks back and just kind of like nods at Delphine.
Rebus, you climbed up on the cliffside, following whatever kind of hobgoblin you had spotted. And
Correct.
you quickly, with your fast leaps and climbing motions, you get up on the side of the cliffs, pull yourself up, and from what you can see, you don't see any of the hobgoblins or bugbears or whatever kind of figure you spotted up here that you just missed with your glaive. But you do see footsteps ahead of you, and you hear, coming from the direction in which you saw the enemy flee, you hear sounds of conversation and of footsteps.
Okay. I will. What kind of sounds? Like calm conversation or hushed, quick, nervous conversation?
Quick conversation that is kind of hushed, like someone is trying to speak in a low tone, but is too rushed to really put in the effort of whispering. Like a bit of, almost like a bit stage whispering like.
I will properly grab my glaive after climbing the cliff, and in my usual fashion, try to collect myself after being a bit out of touch with my emotions because of the worry that Dythun might have something to do with this. And I want to try to approach it how I usually approach conflict, which is to assume the best possible outcome and to just try and talk. And so I start to go from this crouched position onto a more upright position, putting my weight on my glaive, and suddenly some sparks go off from the bottom of my back all the way to my head, and I twitch, and I go into battle mode, and I rage, and I turn on the form of the beast with the tail that my companions have already seen me use in the cave. But to anybody who might have caught this and have been looking to me, there's a component of lack of willingness that wasn't there before. I clearly was not planning on doing this, but
Gotcha.
once I failed to recover my more upright position, I just fully go into this bestial mode, and I put all my free hand on the ground, and I will almost like quadrupedly rush towards where the voices are coming from, glaive in hand.
And as you set out with this rushing motion in your bestial form, you kind of go around a bend up here on the cliff from where the sounds come from. And as you come around that corner, you just, flying by your head is a spear that has been flung at you. And you see around this bend, you see a goblin and a bugbear standing there, now looking at you in your expanded form. And they just look at you, both of them battle ready. As you can also hear from a little bit below you, you can hear a low grumbling voice. And we can see from here, from the position from where Rebus is up on the cliffs, our vision moves over to a bit lower, again, where the rest of the party is, around the place where Delphine had just shot the goblin. And stepping out behind some of the trees and the rocks ahead of you, you see a large hulking form coming out. This muscle-bound ogre steps out there, and he's now just looking at whoever he can see at this point, wields this two-handed swords on his shoulder, which just really kind of relaxes on his massive shoulders. He has one side of his face is covered in these swirling tattoo marks that just take up almost exactly half of his face. And he's just looking at the lot of you who are there, looks at the goblin, and then just sees Delphine, looks past Delphine towards Rayn. Out of the corner of his eyes, might even spot Dythun. And then he just draws his sword and gets ready for battle. And it's at this point that I would like all of you to roll initiative, please.
Initiative.
As I'm
Let's
going to prepare something.
Rayn still had telepathic connection with a harpy, but you let me know how much time has elapsed on this.
But that part that went out last time because
I
something might have,
reconnected to someone else.
the one at the exit. You are
Mhm.
correct indeed.
Oof. When you are ready, Rayn rolled a 9 for her initiative. That's okay.
For me, it's a 16.
Okay, I'm just quickly putting you on a nice little map.
Yeah, we kind of spread out a
This
bit.
is a pretty
That's okay.
Which, by the way, this map was made possible through Dungeon Draft, a very easy way to build your own maps as well.
Very nicely made.
Not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored.
But could be.
What we would like
Hit
your
us up.
support.
Okay, Marcus,
See?
would you direct me to the position where my character would have standed?
How do I do that again?
Just taking the character and move it.
Yeah, Delphine and Rayn were like apart from Dythun and Rebus somehow.
Exactly.
Exactly. I think you should be. You don't see your characters yet?
Nice.
I see it.
Okay, perfect.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I just need to put one over there and quickly these boys over there. Hop, hop. All right, we have a few of those. Let's see, what did you come up with initiative? Rayn, what was your initiative?
9.
Ooh, okay. That was 9. Delphine, what was your initiative?
20.
20. Nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
Thanks, Paula, for the build win.
Rebus, what did you get?
16.
16. That's also great. And then Dythun, what did the dice give you?
12.
12. Dythun got a 12. All right, let's quickly slot in some enemies here. And let's put, okay, and the bugbear. All right, that means top of initiative, Delphine. You see this hulking bugbear now standing there, drawing his weapon. What would you like to do?
Let me check. So, first I will take out the rapier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just checking what lightly obscured means. Creatures have disadvantage on wisdom, perception checks relying on sight. Okay. So, and then I will use my channel divinity, and I will use the marine layer. This casts a fog around me for 20 feet. So, and I personally, and everyone who is in 5 feet around me, treats this fog as lightly obscured. For everyone else, this is heavily obscured.
All right. Which means, to quickly clarify, for those who's lightly obscured, they have disadvantage on perception checks that rely on sight. But heavily obscured means that a creature is effectively blinded when trying to see something in that area.
Exactly. And the fog moves with me.
Gotcha. For
So
20
it's
feet
centered on
around
me
you.
and moves with me.
Nice.
Is that for
there-
everyone, or do allies have special treatment?
Only if you're in 5 feet of me.
Okay, but for everyone.
Like, wait a second. I'm first clicking this off. Yeah, all creatures.
Okay.
And I still have the expeditious retreat going. Concentration is still running since I didn't got any hurt anyway or anything. And I will fast move towards this ogre, attack him, and then immediately move away.
Nice.
All right. That's what you can do with your expeditious retreat. So you're gonna like cloaked in your marine lair, dash towards the ogre, make your attack with the rapier. Give me an attack roll with the rapier. Like there's just this cloud speeding towards the ogre.
So this is an 18.
That hits.
Good, good.
Big boy.
This is oh,
It's not hard to miss this big guy.
yeah.
accepted.
I just lost the die. So these are 12 points of damage.
12 points of damage to the ogre. All right.
So, and I move since I was standing right in front of him, and I have like 30 feet of movement, I will move back. No, he mightn't. I don't know how smart he is. I will just move so that I'm still in the 20 feet range of him, so that he is in the fog. That's my turn.
Gotcha. All right. So yeah, the ogre, everything the ogre sees is that this cloud of smoke or of mist coalesces around you. It moves towards him. They're suddenly out of the cloud. There's this this strike with the rapier, and then the cloud moves away, and the ogre's just standing like just glares at the cloud. Not really directly at you. He has no idea where you are in the cloud, but he just glares at the cloud. That your turn? All right. That brings us to the goblin, who is up there where Rebus is, who's basically now looking at this big automaton that is on all fours and getting ready for battle there. And instead of getting in melee with this, he's just gonna fire from his bow an arrow at you, Rebus. And that's gonna be... that is gonna be a 10. I don't think that hits.
No, it doesn't.
That arrow just you feel the arrow like impact against you, but with not enough force to do anything to you. It just like
Boing.
bling, goes off of your hard shell, and the goblin just retreats a little bit over here behind the bugbear, which actually leads us to your turn, Rebus. What would you like to do?
I wanted to ask, what if I wanted Rebus to be able to catch the spear that got thrown to them, but it's been a while, so I don't know if that counts anymore. It would have been like a before thing.
Yeah.
Because it would have looked cool, but that's it. Okay.
So I my visor is completely red in this like triangular form, like the protected form from the armor, and I am with one hand on the ground and the other one on the glaive, and I will shriek this strange sounded metallic shriek that is unlike anything anyone has been able to hear before, because it's like a roar out of a machine. And I will just dash against the bugbear. Not really dash. Can I charge?
Well, you can use your movement to get to them, which
Yeah. I don't know
and
if
then
I can charge though, so I get a higher attack. I don't know how that works.
no, you don't
in
get
this
like
edition.
I don't think you have anything that like gives you a special attack or something just because you moved towards them, but you could still use your movement to get them and then attack
Okay.
them.
Yeah, well, I will do that. I was just thinking if I had any kind of charge power ups, but it's all good. Do you remember how things work? Just
This
get the
bugbear
one
is getting
attack.
charged by a roaring warforged with a tail.
And I take my glaive and I try and stab him with it just from the get-go. So we'll see
Perfect.
what happens. I'm raging, so that's
Mm-hmm.
+2. How does this work? Wait, 1 second. +2 damage. Okay. First, I need to hit, which I don't think I will. That's 13 to hit.
As you come in there, you do with full force and roaring bring down your glaive, but the bugbear that has another spear in one hand and is just holding that up in front of them, and your glaive crashes in against it as you're now locked in this strike against each other. Your attack does not hit, and you're now just looking into the eyes of this bugbear who frowns at you and seems to, with a bit of a smile on his face, and find this a bit entertaining at this point.
Can I do anything else?
You use your action, you use your movement. Do you got anything on your bonus action? Otherwise, you're just having a very cool stare down with a bugbear.
No, just, wanted to know if I could try intimidate, but I think that would count as an action.
Exactly.
So, all good.
All good?
I'll just stay there, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being your turn, it is the ogre's turn. And after the ogre, Dythun, you're on deck. The ogre, who just got struck by something from a cloud of mist, is going to basically wade into the mist and gonna step over here and is going to make an attempt to hit you, Delphine, which he has to do at disadvantage because of the marine layer. So I'm gonna roll 2d20 here with disadvantage. One of those came up as a 20. The other one came up as a 6. For a total of 12. So I don't think that hits you.
Nope, that doesn't it.
All right. You just, from your perspective, Delphine, you see the ogre stepping into the mist and he just swings way past you. You feel the breeze of the swing, but nothing hits you. And the ogre just looks around like, where the heck are you? And he ends his turn there, which brings us to Dythun. You're muted, Dythun. Now you're not.
Yes, hello.
Hi.
I don't like being this far away.
That's a
Better
problem,
do something
isn't it?
about that.
How much of my can I move diagonally?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, if I could get here with 15 feet of movement,
Mm-hmm.
is it like a action? Like, how high is that ledge? Is it like I gotta spend an action to climb it? Or
Would basically be, at this point, this ledge would be difficult terrain, so it would cost double your movement.
so that would basically take the rest of my movement to get up there.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do the rest of my movement to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I'll take a dash action. And I'll just No. No, I want to do something different. I'll throw my hand axe. That's something I can do.
You throw your hand axe.
I'll throw my hand axe at the bugbear.
Who's currently locked his spear with the glaive of Rebus. Give me a ranged attack roll with your hand axe.
Exactly. That is a 18.
That hits.
Perfect. Oh, that's a 6 on the dice, so 8.
8 points of damage as the bugbear is still focused on locking his weapon with Rebus's weapon, and suddenly that hatchet that you throw just hits him in the side, and they like lean a bit to the side where the hatchet impacts them, and he just very quickly dart a glance over Rebus' shoulder at where you are, but then try to focus their attention again on Rebus. Anything else you would like to do, hand axe throwing Dythun?
No, I think that's it for him. He's still a bit confused about what's going on and a bit conflicted.
Gotcha. All right. That brings us to the mentioned bugbear, and Rayn, you're on deck.
Gotcha.
So the bugbear has to do something about the situation. And he's going to try to attack with his spear the Warforged in front of him. That's a natural 20 for a total of 24.
Well, raging is a good thing.
Which is going to be... See, now I finally get to use my d8s.
This is the bugbear?
Yeah. That's 29 points of piercing damage.
But he's
Which you
raged, but they're
half
raging.
because you half because you're raging.
Yeah.
So that's still 14 points of piercing damage as you see the bugbear just in an opportune moment, like retreat his lance and just jam the back end of the spear in between your plates.
Can I use my reaction?
For what?
To swipe my tail and intercept the attack.
Is that a thing you can do?
But it was very high, right? How much was the? It was a 24.
It was a natural 20, so it hits
Total?
anyway. 24. But it's a natural 20 anyway, and a 20 hits always. Natural 20 hits always.
Yeah, then it's all good.
All right. So he brings the lance in between some plating and gears, and you can just feel it deep in you as you take those 14 points of piercing damage from it. And he like has his spear in there, and you can just hear him say with a bit of an accent in his common, he just says like, "That grinds your gears," as he puts the weapon in there, and that ends his turn and brings us to Rayn. And I'm sure I'm gonna get payback for that stupid joke.
My
Rayn,
eyes did a I was at a somersault. This lovely pink tree.
yeah.
Does it provide me cover from the bugbear in that line of sight?
Especially because the bugbear is like higher up and the tree is pretty tall, you would have cover. Yeah.
Would I deduce that if I move a certain way, I would get cover from the goblin? Say if I
Sure.
was 1, 2, 3, do I feel like I have some cover from the goblin's line of sight as well?
Especially because the goblin is smaller than the bugbear. Yaha, you would have
Okay.
cover there.
I'm gonna stay right there. This is the first time I've actually noticed that Rebus and Dythun have arrived in the scene. So I look over, it's like, oh, goody, goody. And I will turn to the ogre and I will just glare at it as it dares try to hurt my buddy over there. And I am going to cast Mind Sliver.
Mind Sliver.
I would like it to make an intelligence saving throw, please.
The ogre makes an intelligence saving throw. It's a total of 15.
Oh, that makes it. What?
Oh, he's pretty intelligent.
Or just rolled well.
Yeah, so you cast a spell, but you just see the ogre like shrugs it off at that point, but is still like mostly focused on figuring out where in this mist is whatever struck him with a rapier. Anything else on your turn?
And then bonus action, since I still have connected to that the harpy, I will quickly just say in my mind, we're gonna try to take care of a big fellow right now. How are you doing? And I go back to concentrating on what's in front of me.
Perfect. That's end of the round. Brings us back to top of the round. Delphine, you're up. There's an ogre not far away from you, but he has no clue where you are. What would you like to do?
Okay, I wanna move right behind him, attack him again,
All right.
and yeah, let's do this first. Come on, big money. Oh, that's a 12.
Still hits though. It's a big guy.
Okay, good. I'm not complaining. That are 10 points of damage.
10 points of damage as you strike him from behind, the cloud of fog moving with you. You basically like hit a little bit like the backside of his calf with your rapier.
Yeah, I
else would
want
you
to
like to
slash
do?
it a bit, and then I'm moving like let me check. And then I'm moving a bit away. I think this will be okay to have him still in the cloud. Yeah, he's still in the cloud. Okay.
As you're moving away, he's still going to try with his reaction to do an opportunity attack, which is
Okay, he
also
can.
at disadvantage, but he feels a sting in his leg, and he's going to try to swing where the sting came from with disadvantage. That's a 2 and a 2, so he doesn't hit.
Yay.
And just swings wide as the cloud moves with you. Anything else on your turn, Delphine?
No, that's it.
That's it. That brings us to the goblin, and Rebus, you're on deck. The goblin up there is going to fire his short bow at Dythun, which is a 22. Does that hit? I'm pretty sure it does.
Trying to do math. Sorry. Well, hold on.
You're trying. You're trying.
It's just like a hand crossbow.
It's a short bow that he's firing with.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll leave that for later.
All right. You were trying to solve a math problem here, but while you were trying to solve the math problem, the goblin. That's 8 points of piercing damage. That was a max on the damage roll.
Ouchie.
And with that, the goblin is just going to take a step over here and end their turn, which brings us to Rebus. You're still up against that bugbear that just stuck his weapon into you. What would you like to do?
I'll try to hit him again, because, you know, that's what I have to do.
You're right up in
Really bad. 14.
14 on the bugbear, just misses as he kind of sidesteps you. There's still like some of your movement still hits him, but he's like quick on his feet, sidesteps it to negate most of the impact. And he just keeps an eye on you, trying to really gauge what your next step is going to be. You get the idea that this bugbear has been in some fights, that has quite some battle experience.
I don't get any idea because Rebus right now is not like
Or
rational creature. So
makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. You're good point. Anything else you would like to do on your turn?
I can't really do anything else. So
The good thing,
I don't really want to move. So
yeah, the good thing is that something that you would even notice also in your rage state is you got this fellow focused on you, that this fellow seems to be engaged with you and really wants to take care of you. So at least they're not trying to attack any of your companions.
he can try.
I bet he can. Is that your turn, Rebus?
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to the ogre with Dythun on deck. Yeah, the ogre is really it's like in a frustrated he exhales as he sees the mist cloud move away into another direction again, and he looks around for anything else now, seeing that the mist cloud moved away from him. He turns towards Rayn and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's gonna lumber over to you, Rayn, and bring down his sword towards you.
Yes, just roll damage. Whatever.
I don't think that a total of 8 hits you. I rolled a 2 again on this
Just
die.
barely. I misses.
So he just, probably still fueled by some frustration, he just goes a bit too wide, and you actually see as he raises his sword, he cuts through some of the twigs on the tree next to you, and that kind of slows his impact, giving you more time to step out of the way of the sword as
He's a
it
very
just.
clumsy duck.
And there's actually some beautiful pink leaves falling down on you as part of the tree is brought down next to you as well from the sword. And that ends the ogre's turn and brings us to Dythun. Dythun, you can hear wood snapping next to you, but you might have other priorities at this point. What would you like to do?
By the way, Rayn just kind of got this like sick little smile on her face as the ogre decided to come play with her.
Yeah, I can't really see where the ogre's at this point, can I?
No, you just see that suddenly you can see the
Or
tree next to
maybe.
you, and you see that something rustled the tree, and you can hear wood snapping in the tree.
I'm okay.
Okay, I think Dythun's gonna continue doing what Dythun was doing. Dythun's gonna move up next to this bugbear, and I'm actually gonna try to shove it to the ground and knock it prone.
All right.
See how that goes.
Give me an athletics, and I'm going to compete with an athletics against that.
It's not terrible. A 17.
I'm really gonna throw this die away. It's a 2 again on this die, and so
Wonderful.
you're in detention.
The GM really wants his own cat to show up on stream right now.
I
Nice
really,
detention.
where is this cat? No, but you do succeed in this bugbear was so focused on Rebus that he didn't really see you get into this position, and you just tackled him to the ground. Or is there any other kind of approach that you're going to take here?
Yeah, basically, I just want them like on the ground, so it's easier for us to hit them.
Perfect. You just come from the side, you literally blindside them at that point. As you're like, poof, tackled by your large Leonin figure, and they go to the ground, and they're now on their back, looking up at an angry Warforged and at a Leonin that is now looking at them. I will say, however, this is your action to
Oh
have
yes,
pushed them down.
absolutely.
Okay.
And as a bonus action, I'd like to just scream in their face, and I'd like them to make a wisdom saving throw.
Yes.
Dythun's gonna roar again.
Whoa.
He's getting angry. He's like, all right, enough of this shit.
Oh, yes.
I love to imagine there's like a meow, and like somehow that scares them. I don't know.
That is-
Terrifying.
That is a total of 19, however, on
Ah.
Your tiny meow
Oh, wait
doesn't
a
scare
second.
them.
Hey, the goblin is also within 10 feet of me, correct?
Yes, he is. So
okay, can that
yes.
goblin make another check as well?
that's a 4. So
Okay, so
are
the
they-
goblin is frightened
the goblin the goblin's frightened of you.
until the end of my next turn. They are frightened.
So you let out this deep, loud roar right above the bugbear on the ground, who just frowns at you, still in this battle-hardened state. But the goblin, who was already close to this tree, not far away from you, is just now like leaning a bit closer to the tree. You can see them quaking a bit in their boots, and they certainly don't have any plans right now of engaging you in any way. So, and all of you, by the way, can easily hear this roar of you like echoing down from the cliffs.
Perfect. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and action surge.
Oh yeah, please do.
And I'm gonna go ahead and I guess make a longsword attack. That sounds
With
fun.
advantage if you do it on the bugbear, because they're on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes. I have some times that I think ahead. This is one of them. Oh, that's gonna hit. That's a 22.
Nice, that does certainly hit.
Okay, what do I roll? 8? Where's my 8? What is an 8? There's an 8. That's an 8.
Ooh, nice for a total of.
Hey.
That's a 10.
Nice.
All right.
I don't need to roll that. Okay, I'm just trying to see like how can I use all my things in one turn, but that would just give advantage, so that I don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there we go.
That longsword attack of yours, after you withdraw your sword, you see that the bugbear is looking rough. That really got him good.
Perfect. I think just like kind of offhand, Dythun's gonna turn to Rebus, like very aware that they're in their kind of feral state and this might not even register with them. But Dythun's gonna turn to Rebus and say, I'm on the same side of this as you. I didn't want this to happen. Just pissed off that these goblins are making their move.
Gotcha. That's your turn?
Absolutely. I literally don't think I can do anything else.
You got that action surge in there. That was a nice.
Used everything on my action sheet that I can.
That was a good 1-2 punch there. That's why I love fighters. All right, Dythun, that was your turn. That brings us to the bugbear, and Rayn, you're on deck.
Gotcha.
The bugbear now, especially after feeling the brunt of the longsword, hearing you roar, and also looking up at this very intimidating looking warforged that even after taking a spear to the inside of their gears is still up and ready to fight. You see the bugbear on his back on the ground, and he just drops his spear and raises his empty hands up and is just going to spend the rest of his turn just lying there. Which brings us to Rayn, who is right in front of that ogre who just took down a branch of that tree. What would you like to do?
He has lumbered towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So I am just quickly going to kind of crouch to the ground and slam my hand onto the floor. And as I do that, that casts Arms of Hadar.
Oh, yes.
and these dark, inky, thick tendrils just burst up from the ground. And I would like this big, strong-looking ogre to make a strength saving throw. We're gambling here.
Strength saving throw.
Yeah.
Mm,
Let's see what happens.
Probably strong.
I can roll bad.
What's the DC on that?
The disease. This DC
That-
is 13.
That's a total of 12 that I got on the strength saving throw.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes.
This guy rolled really well on his wisdom saving throw, which is not good. And then he rolls really poor on his strength saving throw, which is actually a pretty good. So yeah, this tentacle lashes out and grabs him.
Like this whole 10 feet of tentacles. Like he's a big guy, so there's a big field around him. So he's going to take 2d6 necrotic damage. That's 5 necrotic damage.
5 necrotic damage. All right.
And it cannot take reactions until its next turn. So as I'm watching these inky tendrils just kind of batter him from the grass, I am going to tiptoe. Whoop, 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 whoop. Just a bit out of a melee range. If he's gonna move, he's gonna move, but
And you see, as you move away, you see that he's trying to reach for his sword to swing past it, but one of the tentacles is just wraps around his sword and pulls it back, so he can't swing with it.
to just kind of glare at him, but with this smile on my face, kind of enjoying this big, strong physical creature just get pummeled by these gross tentacle-looking things. And I smile over at Delphine, just kind of a bit confident. And that's my turn.
That's our turn. That brings us back to the top of the round to Delphine, actually. Delphine, from your nice little marine lair, you see these tentacles appearing and everything. What would you like to do?
How does the ogre look like?
The ogre is big, is strong, but also at this point took a few hits and is now especially now that they're straining against Rayn's tentacles, you can see that there's quite some blood coming from some of the wounds that you inflicted on them, like the rapier strikes that you got. Now that they put strength and effort into it, you see that there's more blood coming out of it. They look rough.
Okay.
Not
Oh.
rough as in close to death rough, but they
We will see about it.
Not having a good day.
yeah.
Okay.
Ominous.
Okay.
I will tell you if they're close to death or not. I will.
Let's talk about this later. Okay. Pretty furious that this ogre just tried to attack Rayn. So these are 30 feet. So I'm running over, basically taking a leap there. Try to hit him with the rapier. So that's the first.
All right.
Try with the rapier.
Make an attack with your rapier.
Oh god. Can someone bless my die?
Rayn is in the corner with pom-poms for Delphine.
Pom-poms
The
of
die
Hadar.
went away. I don't know where you.
It was a 20. It was totally a 20. I can see it from
I
here.
don't know. I can't tell because you went away somewhere on my desk.
You got a fresh dice? Fresh die?
Yeah, I have another one.
Isn't that the second one that's done that this game?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the first one went on the floor somewhere behind me, and the other one is at the back of my of my desk right now, and there's a lot of stuff laying there, so I don't know where. Oh wait. Yeah. Oh boy. This is a 16.
That hits.
And okay, first rapier hit. So these are 10 points of damage, and I will add up a divine smite on this. So these are 2d8 more with radiant damage. So, and these are 11 points on top on radiant.
Nice.
You come in there dashing in your cloud rapier cutting in, empowered by the might of your oath that might even have a little bit more of that sea breeze on it as you channel your oath into your weapon.
Ooh.
And the ogre, now restrained by the tentacles, has an even harder time to dodge these. And you just hear this coming as your rapier digs into their flesh. But they fall down on one knee, try to like hold their sword with both hands, and try to make some kind of reactionary attack and response, but they can't. They're weak and they're held down by the arms of Hadar here.
So, and since I've took a leap, I will like, since I still have my expeditious retreat going on, like to land directly on the other side. Smiling at
Perfect.
them.
Smiling at them. And they're basically, you see the ogre is still looking in the direction from where you took the strike, but you're already in another place now as the mist encircles you and your target. Anything else on your turn, Delphine?
No, this is all I can do right now. I will look for my die right now.
Oh, perfect. Which brings us to the goblin, and Rebus is on deck. The goblin, who is very much frightened of Dythun at this point, and just witnessed his colleague drop his weapons, is actually gonna spend his action to dash into the undergrowth here, which is difficult terrain at this point. So in his entire turn, he makes it like somewhere over here and is just going to try to flee the scene, which does end his turn as well and brings us up to Rebus. What would you like to do with the surrendering bugbear on the ground in front of you and Dythun to your side?
So you hear the strange screech with like some kind of strange sparks coming out of Rebus's like back of the head as they kind of twitch for a moment at the bugbear with his hands up, and I will try and plunge my glaive on them.
All right. You do have advantage on that attack because they're still prone.
23.
That hits.
Okay. That is 12 points of damage as I pick up my glaive and just
And
stick
as you do that, your blade strikes deep into the bugbear, and you, as they see your glaive approach, you just see for a moment their eyes, their pupils go wide in shock before your glaive strikes through their torso, goes deep, and take the life from the bugbear.
I will leave it there and start like running all fours towards where the goblin is.
All right.
So I guess it's just my normal movement. Yeah.
Starting at the pink tree that you see up there, it's going to be difficult terrain. So that's double your movement that you have to spend to get through there.
Then I guess you get like there.
Approximately, yeah.
2, 3. Fine.
And you left your glaive in the body of the bugbear.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
As I
Anything
need it,
else?
It's fine. No, that's it.
Gotcha. All right. That brings us to the ogre, who is still there and now pulling his weapon free from the tentacles. This is very, very frustrating. And he takes a step towards Rayn.
Okay.
He is still in the cloud.
He is actually still in the cloud, yeah. Then he's going to
Because
make
I'm
the
more
attack
scared.
with disadvantage. And he's going to make an attack with disadvantage against you, Rayn.
I'm so squishy. Let me have
Total
it.
of 8 does still not hit you.
Oh,
And
well, I mean, it means sound sad. Yay, is what I meant to say.
you just, as he's like still trying to pinpoint within the fog where his target is, he just again digs his sword into that tree. Now it's stuck in the trunk of the tree and splits it wide. You see that there's whatever kind of insects that were hiding inside of the tree are now crawling out of it, and more of the pink leaves fall down as the ogre spends the rest of his turn trying to get his giant sword out of the tree, which does end his turn and brings it out to Dythun.
So I can obviously hear something happening under the tree.
Right.
But all of that's kind of covered in marine layer, right?
Yes. If you would like you see the tree, and you also see like these wisps and strands of fog coming from down there.
Do I have line of sight on the goblin?
Barely, I would say. You have line of sight, but they would have cover on any kind of attacks you might want to do on them.
Well, I'm not really sure. Okay, Dythun kind of thinks I can't really do anything to stop the goblin at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of too far away. So, can he just jump down and try to get to where he thinks the ogre is?
What ogre?
Exactly.
Like you could go down from the cliff.
Yeah,
but
is any of him like sticking above the marine? Like, can I have an
In the-
idea of where I'm headed before I jump down?
best case scenario is that within the marine lair, you would like at most see like a very large silhouette in there. So
Okay.
that's the best you could get.
Can I get to there? I think that's 10 feet climbing down, and then the
Yeah.
rest of my movement I can get there, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Dythun's gonna try to... Yeah. We'll try to attack the ogre at disadvantage?
At disadvantage, exactly.
Alrighty.
So now we basically have all these people in here in this wispy marine lair trying to hit each other.
Yeah, I don't have anything to counteract that, so...
No regrets.
Well, that's a 1.
Hey!
Mm.
You hear besides you and just barely missing your companion.
Oh, didn't see you there. It's hard to see in this damn fog.
It is not damned, it is lovely.
Right.
It is thick and soft and moist. All good things. Moist, 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 moist.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah, I only get 1 attack right now.
At this stage, you still get 1 attack. And in the mist, you missed the attack, but no problems. We go on to the bugbear, who is no longer among the living, which means that it is Rayn's turn. Rayn, you're in the mist. You just got missed by an attack, and you are... What are your plans?
The ogre was kind of lumbering towards me.
Yeah, and his sword is still stuck in the tree next to you.
And I'm just going to like almost walk up to him, get in his face, and like, you're just projecting your failures and your incapacities, aren't you? And I cast Dissonant Whispers. I would like it to make a wisdom saving throw. My DC is
Alrighty.
13.
DC's 13 on a wisdom saving throw.
I will click the thing, cast.
That's a total of 7, so it fails.
That is a beautiful 3d6.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Oh, couple ones. One more. Oh, I rolled 3 ones.
No.
Had 3
Oh,
psychic damage.
You
And
should
Come
jail
on.
these dice.
must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far away as its speed allows away from me.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Can it-
Yeah.
Can it use its reactions now?
At this point, it can again because I
Oh, okay.
think Arms of Hadar is until the start of your next
Arms
turn,
of
right?
Hadar is instant. I put it in the
Yeah, but it can take
Oh,
reactions
yeah.
until its next turn.
like this,
But,
like this.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's my
So
next
it
turn.
can take its reaction, and it's going to have to move its full 40 feet of speed away from Rayn.
So, but
Uh,
it will cross my path, so I can take my reaction.
Do
Forced, forced movement does not provoke opportunity attacks,
Oh.
We
unfortunately.
Damn
always
it.
have this discussion with dissonant whispers, isn't it?
1, 2,
It doesn't
3,
specifically say otherwise.
Yeah, damn it.
3, 4. Well, it's going to basically move over here and is now like, as it's been reminded of all its failures and weaknesses, of all the things it has done wrong in life, it is running away from the source of its of this pain, and is far away from you now, Rayn. But you're still in the mist.
Wait, I think it can provoke opportunity attacks because it uses a reaction. Player's Handbook 195, and I don't have my PHB. Well, we'll look it up after the thing, but it'd be cool if
Alright.
it did.
If it helps anything,
myself.
this ogre at this point does look very rough. So, is there anything else you would like to do on your turn, Rayn?
Kind of give it like a the smile that a bully would make as it runs away from me, like And that's my turn.
Gotcha. All right, that brings us back to top of the round, Delphine. You've suddenly seen the ogre run away out of the mist and is now standing over there. What would you like to do?
I'm running up towards them and basically slash my sword directly into the big body,
Gotcha.
like
Give me an
full
attack.
force.
Give me that attack roll.
So, okay, now that I found the dice back, come give me something. Oh, what is this? These are 23 to hit.
That certainly hits.
This is not that what I wanted, but this is still a 9.
How would you like to do this?
Oh well, it's basically that I let loose of the pistol before because I still had it in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
So this is falling to the ground, and then I'm taking like the rapier in 2 hands as I'm running forward and just smash the rapier into the body, like up front. And as I'm doing this, the mist will vanish as well, so that the ogre sees who is actually killing them.
Ooh, at the moment, as they come crashing down onto your blade, onto that rapier, the mist dissipates, and you see this ogre just looking at you. And then just crash down on the ground next to you. Which means at this point, where we have the ogre is dead, the bugbear is dead, and the goblin is running through the undergrowth. And as they're running through the undergrowth, they hear something is giving chase. And the goblin like looks over the shoulder and sees Rebus. They see you chasing them through the undergrowth. And are you still running on all fours?
Yeah.
On all fours, tail out, you're just giving chase. And this goblin, like, as they look over their shoulder, they trip over a root that is sticking out of the ground. They fall onto their knees, try to get up, but you have already come a lot closer. They're within your reach. What would you like to do, Rebus?
I will turn to stop right before it and have my tail whip around me and try and stab the goblin with my tail. Mechanical cable made tail.
Give me an attack roll with the tail.
Is the goblin prone?
It would be prone at this point, yeah,
It'd
so
be
take that
prone.
advantage on it.
23 again.
Yaha, that hits.
Rolled really bad on damage, 4 points.
But your tail, as you sweep it forward, like the tail pierces into the goblin. I'm almost imagining almost like these xenomorph-like tail from Alien, almost like lashing forward as it like digs into their upper leg, and you can hear the goblin go ah as it goes in, and you see them now in front of you on the ground as you retract your tail, and you just see them, and their eyes are filled with fear at this point.
I basically like fall on them, like I put my hands on either side of them, and I'll do it again. I'll use my tail again to stab him until he's dead.
Make another attack roll. Dythun, while the attacks are being rolled.
Is this sort of like out of initiative thing?
Out of initiative at this point, yeah.
Yeah, Dythun would start making his way towards where Rebus and this goblin are. Like climbing back up, picking up Rebus's glaive along the way.
Gotcha. All right.
I would
Rebus, what did you get on the attack rolls?
I rolled really bad at 12.
12, even with advantage?
Yeah, I rolled really low.
You, like, as you try to bring in...
Rebus, I am not the most, like, dexterous or the most, like, precise right now. I'm just kind of, like, moving and trying to get this goblin, and they're probably, like, trying to move away, and I'm just, like, piercing with the tail, like, over my shoulder.
Gotcha, and it's just wildly going about, and the goblin is screaming and moving as you're doing that. Dythun, you're running after Rebus in the direction that they went off to, and as you're approaching there through the undergrowth, you can see their massive metal form as the tail is just lashing out at a goblin that they're hulking over.
Do I have like a clear line of sight?
You can see them, but if you would like to do an attack or something, they would have cover at this point. There's quite some thick undergrowth here, so...
I'm just gonna roll a dice and see what happens. What would Rebus's armor class be at cover?
So if you +2 for the AC.
So would a dirty 20 hit?
Yeah, that would hit.
Okay, because Dythun's gonna firebolt to get your attention off of the goblin. Just throw out a little firebolt from his hand.
Yeah, Rebus, you would feel as you're like lashing out at the goblin, suddenly you hear the hot impact on your back. There's a flash of fire that rushes over your back. And
damage.
Okay, do I get like a dexterity save or anything, or is it just
no, firebolt? Firebolt is just an attack roll.
Yeah, it's just the little like
okay.
And
yeah,
Dythun is gonna like shout out like, over here. They're not worth your time.
I will turn around and still try to get the goblin with the tails. I'm like now looking, like not even looking at the goblin anymore, just looking at Dythun.
Basically, as you turn around, your tail is still lashing out at the goblin.
For very bad, just very, very bad rolling. So I don't hit him.
They're
It's
still
very
prone,
funny.
right?
One of them died. Yeah, but even with advantage, it was really bad.
There's your tail, as if
Yes.
of its own mind almost, is still lashing out at the goblin. But now that your attention is kind of split, your tail doing one thing, your vision somewhere else, the attacks are even less accurate, and the goblin is just like trying to get out of the way. But Rebus, you've turned around and you look at Dythun, who's now standing a few feet away from you.
Yeah, I'm bothered by this, so I will stand up and run towards them. Yeah,
All right.
and try and attack Dythun.
As
Without
Rebus is running in, Dythun's just gonna shout, "Run, you fucking idiot!"
Oh, by the way, Delphine.
The goblin that just laid there taking all these attacks, like, run!
Oh, by the way,
What is
Delphine.
wrong with you?
Dyson just like fell out of a tree next to me and nearly swatted at me. And I heard Rebus earlier. Who are those two?
Rebus, what's your attacks on Dythun? Or attack on Dythun? You just have a stream.
Attack, yeah. Does 16 hit?
No. No, Dythun just
Sevens.
catches it with his shield.
Delphine and Rayn,
Yeah,
as
then the next thing.
Rayn, as you mentioned that you heard that you saw Dythun and stuff like that, you guys hear on a cliff up above you. You hear metal scraping on steel. You heard Dythun shout, "Run, you idiot!" to someone, and yeah, they're nearby.
I don't want to be left out of the fun. Where are you? And I'm clapping, but this is thunderclap.
Marco!
Wow.
So intense.
Boom, polo.
Whoosh!
Intense gaming.
Whoosh!
Wow. Wow. Yeah. As you, Rebus and Dythun, as you are entangled in your little fight up there, you suddenly hear from below the cliffs below. You just hear this this thunderous sound that rumbles and echoes through the valley.
Wonderful.
I'm just
Because I assume I don't
at
see
this
them well
point,
with
I'm
this
no
tree and
longer,
the
like,
height difference.
Rebus?
well, we're a bit out now because I went where Dythun was, and
Mhm.
I assume we're not as in the deep of the
Yeah, the
bushes
underbrush.
anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, I stopped trying to pierce Dythun and like kind of just try to grapple him like to the ground, trying to wrap my tail around him, even though it's not supposed to be like I can't really attack him by constricting, but like just for flavor. And still very like making strange noises without really making sense or any words, and with some sparks still going out of like the back mechanisms. So
So,
kind of a grapple.
are you trying
yeah.
to, like, actually grapple Dythun?
Yeah, I'm trying to throw him to the ground, like essentially.
Like what
What
I
is
did
this
with the
called?
bugbear. The shove.
Yeah, what is the Pokemon?
what is the Pokemon attack called when you
Oh,
like
tail whip.
Tackle,
the the most basic
body
attack.
slam.
But
Does
Isn't
Rayn
it
see
that?
Tail
this?
slam. What, Rayn? What would you do if you
Well,
could see it?
If I could see them, I will use my last. I would convert my last sorcery point and try to cast calm emotions on this
thing
display
is
I'm
still-
seeing in front of me.
The thing is still, you're still down below,
That's why I
and
say
there's
if I
still the
could
big
see.
tree. There's still this big tree in the way, so you can hear that something is going on, but you can't see them.
Okay.
Yeah, because if Dythun is gonna fight, like, to stay on his feet.
I'm trying to
So-
tackle him. I'm trying to
Oh, tackle. That's
push
it.
all my body weight. Yes, I'm trying to push all my body weight. Like essentially, I tried to pierce him, it didn't work, and now I'm just like jumping and trying to put all my weight on him, and like ideally we both would like roll to the ground.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
At that point,
Splash.
I would like to have both of you make athletics checks and see what
Alrighty.
happens. Both of you make an athletics check.
Oh wait. Rebus is raging.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair.
They have advantage on that.
Well, okay. Mm. I got a total 20.
23.
Oh fuck.
And with
Wait.
that, you
No, that
Rebus
won't
like
work either.
Hmm?
I thought I had something, but it's if somebody misses. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah. Dythun, you're just tackled down by Rebus. As this is happening, Rayn and Delphine, you hear there's something going on up on that cliff. And in the meantime, would you like try to move over, do anything else, as you hear there's still some kind of fighting going up there, but it doesn't sound like goblins or bugbears or anything else that's fighting up there.
That's a shame because common motions has a range of 60 feet. And I have no idea.
Like, you can try to get up the cliff if you want to. You can
Is-
get up there. It's
Yeah. For Delphine, she is completely outpowered by now, like all spell slots, everything gone.
Mhm.
So, and if someone would look at her, she would look pretty tired, and as if something is quite paining her, like bodily. So, and she will really tiredly go over to the pistol. And since there's this noise up there and it doesn't sound like fighting in the normal way, she would just shoot in the air.
basically following Rayn's example, who Rayn made like this big thunderclap.
Yeah.
You just fire into the air, release another echoing shot.
Yeah, and then shouting, "Stop, you idiots! If this is not related to the other people from Droaam, there is no need."
All right. Rayn, I say you move over closer to the cliff.
Yes, Rayn is like really loath to climb this because it's physical exertion, and she's like, listen, here's Delphine's shot. Here's
sling pulley system.
Here's what she says, and if the sound, if the ruckus above her continues, she'll climb up. If not, she'll just stay clean.
Oh, the ruckus does continue.
Okay, let's go. Last sorcery point. Bye bye. Spell slot. Hello. And do I see these two wrestling non-sensually with each other?
You basically climb up at the point as Rebus is leaping on top of Dythun, and they both go down to the ground together.
Ugh. Calm emotions.
Calm emotions. What kind of saving throw do they have to make?
Charisma.
Charisma. Could I have a charisma saving throw? Charisma saving throw from Dythun and from
You can
Rebus.
choose to fail if you know what's happening, if you feel it and you like the feelings.
That's a natural 20 for Dythun.
I rolled a 5.
Okay, the one that had to calm down matters.
True.
Yeah.
Rebus, as you're now
Rebus
on
quite
top of
friendly.
Dythun, you have your tail is raised up, you have one of your hands raised up, and before you can bring them down, as you look down on Dythun, you don't really know what you're trying to get out of this. You know you came here out of some kind of feeling, but that feeling seems to subside for now.
It is concentration for 1 minute. Technically, the rage has
No,
dropped mechanically.
You see, Dythun sees Rebus like on top of him, just like about to try and just punch him in the face, and then suddenly there's more sparks like out of the back of their head, and the visor opens for a moment, kind of the red of the face shield turns off, kind of like when you turn off an old TV, and it just like it makes a white point in the middle, and
Yes.
Rebus falls unconscious, like to the
Great. Dythun's gonna just shove Rebus, but to the direction of the cliff face. Just
ground. Out
just
of,
a little
out
bit,
of the cliff.
a little bit out of spite.
Um,
Just a little bit. Just a little still angry about it.
And Rebus ends
There.
up unconscious on the edge of the cliff.
I hate
yeah.
being the responsible, mature one. How dare you put me in this position?
Dythun's still just like laying on the ground, like, I'm not the one who. Well, no, yeah, I am the one who started the infighting, technically. I was trying to get them
It is
off
your
the
fault.
obviously surrendering enemy.
Oh, they
And-
surrendered.
Well, yes, they were sitting there like, don't kill me. And Rebus is just still stabbing them. And I'm like, hey, stop that. Don't do that.
Is this enemy captured? Or have they gone off to alert all their little friends?
Well, they probably, like, tries to look over the underbrush, like, is the goblin obviously gone?
There is no sign of the goblin anymore, except
will-
for a trail of blood.
Rayn was gonna kick some dirt at you.
That's fair.
Can we not?
Is Rebus still, like, kind of unconscious?
Rebus is out, like powered off. Like
Okay,
not
so I
even in
think-
the standby mode that you've seen them before. They're like not. They have all of the armor still out. Like they're still, the tail is out. The whole like weird shebang. But the visor is no longer closed, and they're just a machine. Like
I
they're
think
just a
that-
metallic mannequin.
Stand up, put his sword away, like kind of attach his shield to his back, and just pick up Rebus over his shoulder.
They're very heavy. They're very heavy.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I rolled a. Let's roll a strength check. 15 plus. With a 17 strength check, could I pick up Rebus?
It's exerting, but
Yeah, I
especially
think
with your form and your frame, you're like you lift them on your shoulder, and you feel the weight, but you can carry them.
Okay, next he's just gonna look at Rayn like, can we go back, or do we need to chase the goblin?
DM, do I still hear or perceive the other harpies rallying, going? Is there battle somewhere else?
Glad you asked. You don't perceive or hear any kind of battle at this point, but as you look around, you do see, coming from the direction of the village, you see up in the sky there's a trio of harpies approaching in the sky, coming to
Approaching
your
us.
position. Yeah, approaching you.
Do I still have that telepathic link, or
You sure do.
and I will just quickly report in. We've taken down some intruders. Their bodies are here for you to, whatever it is you do with them. Can I have a status update, please? My goodness,
you-
I'm asking, please.
As you say that, the trio of harpies has come close enough, and one of them lands right in front of you, and it's the harpy that you mind linked with. And they just look at you and speak out loud. Status report is that the invaders are retreating back into the tunnels, and I see the harpy looks around. You had a bit of a battle yourself.
Yes. A complication seems to have arisen. Is there a pursuit?
That is up to the captain. But so far, we've see the majority of their forces retreat back into the tunnels, and we're going to keep an eye on the tunnels. Not many other points that they could get out of at this point. And if they decide to either starve in the tunnels or return. It's their choice.
I'd rather not give them that choice. Keep looking at Dythun. You see,
That was
They-
not Dythun.
having,
Perfect
dis-
timing, though.
having discussed this with your leader, we informed
Now
her
you show up.
that
We don't need the advantage.
cut. We informed them that the invaders believed they had an ally with us, but we had already talked to your leader, and well, and I gestured to the bodies around us. This is the truth of the situation. The complication has left and might muddle this arrangement up.
Are you trying to tell me that you did have an arrangement with these invaders prior to deciding to join our side?
Only out of self-preservation.
This should be discussed with Mino and with the captain. I shall escort you and your companions back to the village for now.
Are you going to
And then-
escort these corpses as well?
Obviously not.
Take that one at least, and I pointed the bugbear.
And they just, still with the telepathic connection, they then respond telepathically to you. Just follow us and break up whatever this connection is.
I turn to Dythun. You carry them. I'm gonna start climbing down the cliff.
I've already
Delphine!
got.
They were just the idiots for being idiots. So I go and inform her what the heck happened.
What I am
I'm
the
sorry,
mom?
Rebus has always been so. Rebus has always been so responsible. Like the. I just.
Dythun's just like holding Rebus, looks at the bugbear. I'm not carrying it. Just like goes to the
I
cliff
go
face.
berserk once in this campaign, and suddenly I'm just.
Is there anything yummy on
With-
the ogre, Delphine? Later.
So, Dythun, you carry Rebus on your shoulder as you go down the cliffs following the harpies.
How tall is the cliff?
It's not like there's a bit of a height difference, but it's also like
Don't do it.
fairly diagonal. You could slide off of it. So
Don't do
How
it.
tall is the cliff? Like in like increments of 5 feet.
I'd
Just
say
for
like
my own
10 feet,
curiosity.
10 feet height difference.
Don't do it. No! You ass!
Long live the king!
You're repairing me after.
You throw down Rebus, and you hear after a very short drop, this is like a really short drop, you just hear on the soft,
Ow.
mossy and grassy ground, you hear like this thunk sound as they impact there. Rebus, are you still unconscious, or is there?
Yeah, Rebus is out.
Yeah, and you just see
I
them there.
mean, Dythun's not like throwing, but like kind of
Yeet!
Just
Just roll. I think I imagine a roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's not. It's indeed
There's
not a
definitely a-
yeet. It's,
yeah. There's definitely a thud though.
yeah,
There was intent.
as they land on the ground.
Nathan, how could you?
You're unconscious.
Brother?
Pick Rebus
Re-
back up again.
Rebus has this weird dream about being a lion and dangling from a cliff, and
Look, you
No!
put me and you fighting on a cliff, and I told you Dythun's whole aesthetic was inspired by Scar. Like you should have seen this coming at some point.
while Dythun is figuring out the best ways of transporting Rebus down a cliff, Rayn and Delphine, is there anything you would like to do before you follow the harpies? Anything or anyone you want to take with you?
Loot the ogre.
I'm not taking the ogre.
I want to loot the ogre.
Or you want to loot the ogre?
I want to loot the ogre.
You want to loot the ogre.
Delphine, you want to loot the ogre with me?
Delphine is too
How
tired for this.
romantic.
Okay.
You want to
Take a
check up on the ogre?
bugbear.
Yeah.
So if you check the ogre, they have a potion of healing on them, which they
Mhm.
did not get to use.
It's mine now.
It's the smallest potion of healing that's on them. They have a very nicely made leather belt, which is a few sizes too large for all of you.
I take it.
You could like wear it around you as like some kind of sash, basically. In those attached to that belt, there's like a few pockets and satchels with all kind of different like tools for weapon maintenance, but there's some rations in there as well. Little kind of knickknacks are in there too. There's some coin on them as well. You would find in their satchels and bags there are 6 gold pieces in there.
Mine.
7 silver pieces
Mm-hmm.
and 20 copper pieces.
Gotcha.
And while you're also looting the ogre, could you give me an Arcana check?
Arcana. Ooh. Total 12.
12. As they now lie there on the ground, their big sword that they were wielding is lying next to them. And you would notice that it is very well crafted. And you do notice that the way that the blade has been sharpened is something that you've only seen in your Triton homeland, to be able to be sharpened in that way by using magic as well. Like the edge has been hardened and sharpened in magical ways, but that's all you can deduct from it. And this is a very big sword. So
Can I try to take it with me?
you would walk a lot slower, which may cause the harpies to be impatient, but you can carry it with you.
Oh, Rayn wouldn't care about that.
You could like strap it to your back, and you already feel the weight, the weight of it pulling you down.
I have 12 strength. It's a little something.
All right, you feel it a little less pulling down, but you still notice that you have quite some weight on your back.
Fair enough.
Slightly less.
No, Rayn generally carries a greatsword with her. It's back at our lodgings though.
Yeah.
So you'll see, like, after Rayn is done looting this body, she's like a really petite person overall, I'd say. Very slender built. But there's just like a bit of a locks her legs in place, bends at the knees, and just like in one fluid moment, even though you might see some shaking, puts this sword on her back and sort of walks. Like it's a very practiced pickup. And
Yeah.
I would say maybe even Dythun would notice it's a very fluid and well-versed pickup, except that the body itself isn't necessarily well adjusted to actually executing it.
Dythun was fully expecting Rayn to be like, "Hey, can you get that?" But pleasantly surprised.
But there is something very practiced about just pulling a sword and just putting it behind her.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Even though it's like, oh, okay.
Carrying all your groceries at once because you don't want to do 2 trips, but you're just like,
Yes.
"Oh, let's go."
All right. Anything else you guys want to do before you follow the harpies back to the village? Well,
Don't think so.
with a bit of loot on you, an unconscious Rebus being carried by Dythun, and following the trio of harpies, you did survive your encounter with these annoying scouts who you did not expect here. There's still a few questions, but let's get to those questions after a little break, because I think we need a little break after this
Yes.
this combat and this little bit of infighting. So it's let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll be back at like 55, whatever hour it is where you are watching from. So refill your drinks, stretch your legs, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. We are back from our break where we discussed the good old Droaam traditions of war crumpets. That's something that you will never know now the truth about, but maybe it will play a role later on in this game. But you'll never know. You have to keep watching. And talk about watching, for everyone who is watching, thank you very much for tuning into this channel. Thank you for watching along so far. If you enjoy what you're seeing, we'll always enjoy to have you follow us on our social medias. You can follow us on Twitter. You can join us on our Discord channel, where we post silly memes, where we post funny dice that we find online, and sometimes have actual interesting conversations with each other. You can, of course, also follow and subscribe here on Twitch, so that if you follow us, you can get a nice alert when we go live, and subscriptions are always very welcome. That would be very kind. And also, we have all our previous sessions in VODs on our YouTube channel, which is still a few subscribers short of reaching that magical 100 numbers, in which we then have our own personalized custom URL, so that we no longer have to cite from the Necronomicon to link someone to our to our YouTube page. And the number one reason to subscribe on YouTube is because you can find a VODs there with funny, snarky, and interesting timestamps provided by Ida, who is playing Rayn here. So if you want to follow us there, feel free to hit us up. You can find the links to all of the things I mentioned down below the stream here. And I think that is everything for now. Once again, thank you for watching, and let us dive right back into the session. Before our break, we wrapped up a fight with a few goblins, hobgoblins, and even an ogre. Not hobgoblins, bugbears, sorry. And you are now escorted back to the village by a few of the harpies that arrived once you finished your fight. Rebus, who is still unconscious, is being carried by Dythun. And at this point, you have made it back to the village. And with some assistance of the harpies, actually made it back to Mino's throne room, up this large ladder-esque construction into her pillow and drapes covered throne room, where the leader of the harpies is once again seated on her hammock-like throne. And you also see the captain of the harpies here, which you encountered earlier.
Piranha.
Piranha, exactly. The captain of the harpies, who is standing to one of the sides of Mino. And you do see Piranha has some bandages on her, fairly fresh looking. But you also see, as you enter the room, you see her taking off one of the bandages. And as you enter, you can actually witness, while you look, that whatever kind of gash was still under there is actually slowly closing. Which you do notice, looking at yourself, that on the trek back here to the village, which was about half an hour, all of you have completed what equals a long rest at this point, while just walking over here.
Spell slots back too?
Yes.
Whoa!
You notice the full impact of the magic that suffuses this
My
place.
spell slots.
And
Oh.
you are in the throne room here, and Mino looks at you, and she says, I've been told that you have fought bravely against the invaders, dispatched an ogre. Captain Piranha has heard from one of her troopers that also one of the bugbears has been slain by your hand. Were any of those familiar faces that you might have encountered earlier in the tunnel?
Were they the
Wonderful question.
No, none of those were, especially that you did absolutely not see an ogre in the tunnels. And also the goblin and the hobgoblin that you fought, not familiar faces. Not Harut, not his brother, none of the gnolls that you saw earlier. So no, not familiar.
No? I even described what some of them may look like to other of your guards that I was communicating with earlier. Which is true.
I see. She just, at this point, looks at all of you, also notices that Rebus is unconscious. What happened to the machine?
Drops Rebus slightly gently. Like, not like wham, like just kind of like lowers Rebus to the ground.
I look towards Delphine. We only heard quite a fight between the interlopers and our companions. And I kind of look smugly at Dythun, also eager to hear the story.
It's a bit of a got a bit carried away.
I see.
Technical
question.
difficulties.
Yeah.
And Dythun is like looking to Mino.
Mm-hmm.
How many of your people did you lose?
We're fortunate, though we mourn the losses of those that did not make it. Two of the captain's troopers died in the ambushes that awaited us not too far from the tunnel exit. Another one was seriously wounded, but as you might have noticed, as long as you survive, the valley takes care of you.
See, that's the key though, isn't it? Surviving. There were, what, 4 or 5 scouts? You know, Droaam has an army, right?
Can't move an army through narrow tunnels.
You can over time. I'm not trying to scare you or anything. Don't get my intentions wrong. I just want to make sure you're aware and prepared to fight and tooth and nail if it comes to that. Do you
Are you
truly
thinking
believe your people can defend you?
Are you thinking that since our flight has come here, since we first discovered this valley, I have not spent many an hour awake pondering the possibilities of a full-scale invasion, have not had sleepless night thinking about the consequences for my people, have not considered how to protect us even more? Do you think, whelp, you have to teach me about these things?
To that end, Mino, I'm gonna pull the big buster sword and just swing it around in front of me. And I'm going to walk up to Mino and like with it hilt first. So just kind of diagonally on the ground because she cannot like sustain this whole weight. There is something rather special about this. May it help in your defenses.
She takes the hilt of the sword and then just gently pulls it away from you. Takes another hand on the hilt. And now, in the light of this place, you can also see that the blade has a bit also of a purple sheen to it. Like it clearly looks like steel, but it also seems as if there's like this thin layer of something purple over it, just a bit translucent. Did one of your assailants carry this weapon?
Did they DM? Oh, I mean, yes. I thought you meant from earlier. Yes, the big ogre. That I gestured to Delphine. That the two of us brought down. Quite a number.
How careless of them. And she just swings the blade around, swings it around another time.
Does she look like calmer down than from that outburst she had to Dythun?
For a moment, for 1-2 swings of this majestic weapon, and then
Well,
she turns. Yeah.
I was gonna say, while she's swinging the sword, she's going to glance back to Dythun. Mental connection. Did you know that was coming? Has what's his face been talking to you?
Without speaking, Dythun just shakes his head.
I did say I trusted you.
And she
I
then,
turned back my attention to Mino.
as you turn your attention to the back, you hear the ding of the sword being pulled down as she leans on it. It is awfully coincidental that on the night that you arrive, Droaam forces also spill out of the tunnels. But then again, it is also you at the side of us who protects us against them. This does not make your presence any less confusing about all of this, and I do not know what to do with the lot of you. How many do you know are still in those tunnels?
Just to clarify, we only knew of the 5.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think Dythun would speak up again and say, the ones that came out this time we had never even seen. We knew of 5, and those 5 from our scuffle were not a part of this. So there's at least a little less than 10.
More and
If
more
they
in
were
the
smart,
tunnels.
there'd be more.
You see that she quickly glances over at Captain Piranha. It's almost like they have a very quick mental exchange. And then she looks back at you. My captain here would urge me to chase them further into the tunnels, to take some of our warriors and go after these invaders.
Maybe
They'd
that's
be waiting
just
for you
what they
to
were
do
thinking.
that. Yeah, I agree.
So
Do
it's
my
like
brain sound back.
exactly. There's like both of you say at the same time, basically the same thing. And Mino nods. That was exactly our concern as well. You have to go back through those tunnels anyhow.
Oh, we are now playing decoy. Wonderful.
I think she meant like when we leave.
She
We
didn't
have-
say that.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, fair. She didn't say that.
Well, if you would allow me to finish my sentences, I would tell you that.
Dythun, I think at that is just gonna like kind of put his weight on his hind foot and just cross his arms like, okay.
You are still free to stay here to rest up. But by tomorrow afternoon, Once our scouts have had enough time to also keep an eye on the tunnels and any further threats, you will have to leave this valley. And do not misunderstand me. You have aided us tonight. You have a mocking tone and annoying words from time to time, but I do not question your intent. However, if there is more of Droaam coming, I would not want to have outsiders caught in between the two fronts.
Then wouldn't the virtue, the act of us going back through those tunnels, do precisely that?
There's no other exit for you. The tunnels are the only way in and the only way out.
It is not the only exit for you, though. And I gesture to their majestic wings.
What? Do you want me and my siblings here to carry you up into the sky and carry you out of the valley?
Probably without letting us fall. That would be great.
Mentally connection. You would want to be carried.
We're grateful for your help, but we're not so grateful that we're just going to carry you out of here.
Then if I may, I look to my companions, propose an escort of sorts, only partially through the tunnels. But I might be doing you a favor here, but maybe make it look like we are your prisoners, like we have wronged you.
And we are escorting you back through the tunnels then to leave our valley.
Yes.
Cunning. And you hear the captain say, Mino, it is cunning, but it is also dangerous. And Mino says, yet it is still cunning.
They, and I point towards the mountains, they have been adversarial to us. They do not know that we are in cahoots with each other. So, as dangerous as it might be, there is a minimized risk. I think that is tactful to speak to say that we actually help each other a little bit. We get through the tunnels as much as we can, and perhaps we assist you on gleaning what last bits of information you can about the movements in the tunnels before retreating backwards.
There's another invisible exchange between Mino and Captain Piranha. And Rayn, I would like you to make a persuasion check, please.
Okay, even they got that pretty sword from me.
They did. I'm not saying it's going to be a high DC, but I need to see what you roll to know
Okay.
how they're going to respond.
That's 20, total 25.
Nice, 25. Dramatically appropriate. You see, there's this exchange between the captain and Mino. And then Mino turns again. And there's this brief moment that you see in her expression that she's intrigued by this plan. You almost get the idea that it might be a plan that she was pondering. And she likes the idea that there's someone in the room that speaks this plan out loudly here. And she says, under one circumstance, once you are through the tunnels, once you have left behind the valley, once you have left the Grey Wall Mountains, you shall tell no one about any details of how you got here. You shall not tell them the location of the tunnels, what winding passages you took. You shall not tell them about the crystals you've seen, the water you drank, the miracles you have felt yourself. If ever anyone steps foot in this valley, and we can hear from their mouth that they got this information from any of you, and she quickly looks in the round, the haunting song will find you. And trust me, when we have to, we have our wings carry us out of this valley. We don't need the tunnel.
Well, I guess if that knowledge and keeping it to myself makes me special, I guess I don't mind that. I look to
There are
my
many
companions.
things that make you special, Triton.
Oh, yes. You can tell me all about them later. Delphine? Dythun?
I'm okay with this. And I fully believe they'll hold their end of the bargain should we break it.
I'm okay with this.
Very well.
It's not the
Rebus, what
worst
about
deal
you?
ever.
Rebus is fine with it.
Oh, yes. I think I just.
Are you
Sat their
puppeteering
heads
Rebus to like?
Oh no, he just like turns to Rebus laying on the ground next to him. Yeah, fine. No.
If your companion Rebus needs any help, I'm sure that Ragi might have something in his knowledge that could help with the maintenance. Rebus, yeah.
As they're saying this, Rebus's body kind of like sparks a little and starts to like move, and the armor like retreats into the side seam that they have, but the faceplate hasn't gone on yet. It's just like you hear the metal scraping against each other and just like and kind of like making
I'm
like
going to stand in front of
out of
Mino.
rage kind of. But they're still, they're still like on the ground, so this just happens, and like there's no indication that they might like actually be able to stand up or anything. It's just kind of,
Like involuntary.
when you leave your printer presuming it dead, and then suddenly it like turns on and does some like toner cleaning, and then it turns off again.
That is
That kind of vibe.
a fascinating comparison. Nonetheless, as that happens, you see reflexively Mino like swings up the sword that she was given. The captain quickly knocks an arrow on the bow, and they just keep an eye on what's happening with Rebus until the movements stop again. And Rebus, you're just then continue being unconscious once your plating has folded up again, right?
Mm.
And you see
Yes,
the captain.
they're still on the ground, but now they have the normal shape that they should
Gotcha.
have.
The captain like keeps the arrow trained on it, waits for a few moments, and lowers the bow, gets the arrow off of the string again, and puts it all back. Very well then, Mino says. You shall have your quarters again that we have assigned to you, and I shall see that I find a few capable scouts and troopers that can accompany you. Mind you, if there's going to be a convincing act, we might want to be a little bit rough, a little bit aggressive. We want to make the people of Droaam believe that you are our prisoners.
I guess I can forgive some enjoyment on your part.
She smirks and then just gestures towards you that you're dismissed. And the harpies here that were still in the room, they also help you down out of the throne building. Also make sure that Rebus can be transported down safely.
Mhm.
As Mino mentioned, if you would want to, you could have Rebus brought to Ragi, the lore keeper and scholar of the place that you met last time, and your own dwellings that were assigned to you are still available to you. And as discussed with Mino, you have until the morning to further rest and prepare. Is there anything that you would like to do before you get
Is
ready to
this
leave?
enough time for us? Like in total that we need to
Half a
spend?
day. We arrived early evening, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'd need to
Mm.
be till tomorrow afternoon.
At
Yeah.
least the end of
Exactly.
the afternoon.
Exactly. Is there anything that you would like to try to maybe extend the moment of leaving? Any kind of preparations that you still would have to do?
Faking a sickness, could that
Fix
help?
the Warforged.
Who gets sick in these beautiful
Yeah.
healthy
this is
place?
by poison.
I do
mean.
apparently.
um,
Is this like a anything we want to do before we're supposed to leave or before we leave the throne room?
I mean, if you still want to check up, if you want to try and discuss with Minu, if you can extend the time that you're going to leave, that's something that you should still do while you're in the throne room with her.
I mean, Dythun would think let's leave it till the morning, give them time to calm down from this and see what could be done. But I mean, if anyone else has any other plans, the only thing he would do is carry Rebus back to the probably like
Workshop.
back to our dwellings first,
Mm-hmm.
and then he'd kind of walk off on his own. If I don't know if the marketplace is still open after an attack, but he'd try to go find somewhere to acquire that weird fruit.
Well, let's first check. Does the rest of the party agree that you wait until morning to maybe see if you can extend the moment that you're going to leave to further charge the Sapphire? Or do you still want to bring it up with Mino right now that you're like, hey, we might need some more time to prepare? Just pointing out, as Serial also mentioned, Rebus is still like shut down. Maybe that's an angle that you could try that might need some more.
I would stay there and try to discuss a little bit extended stay.
All right.
I mean, if Dythun would take charge of Rebus, so that Rebus gets kind of a repair, so that he is that they are at least functioning again.
Yeah, I mean he'll like pick up Rebus again, and if like you're wanting to stay, just like, do you want me here or should I take care of Rebus?
Take care of them. They
Alright.
are high on need of maintenance.
Yeah, he'll take them back to the dwelling then.
Gotcha.
As Dythun is leaving, the last telepathic message. And there was nothing that came from that stone that the scouts gave us earlier. How odd.
He'll respond, nothing about an attack.
There is going to be quite some problem when that scout reports back who they've seen and who they've been fighting. I suggest you come up with some clever explanation.
Well, they might appreciate that we let one of them live.
I highly doubt that when they were very willing to not let us live, should we fail to keep our end of the bargain. And that is precisely what we have elected to do.
He'll just kind of like, I'm tired, I don't know anymore. Like just shrug and walk away with Rebus.
I stay with Delphine.
All right. And Delphine, you would try to like still haggle with Mino if you can
Yeah.
make sure that you're later in the afternoon. The thing is, especially with the groundwork that Rayn has laid here earlier in the negotiations, Mino is a bit more amenable to see if to listen to improvements to the plan from your end. And the fact to like postpone to like later in the afternoon would also give more time to make sure any kind of possible other scouts that might have infiltrated the valley could be dealt with by the troopers and scouts of the Shining Valley. So she does say that tomorrow past afternoon she's going to summon you and your party back again to draw up the exact plan. And she can't give you like an exact date yet, but at least it's not going to be that you're going to leave like in the morning already. You extend with talking it a bit through with her and also talking about the approach here. She also realizes that there might be a bit of wisdom of actually waiting here and getting a bit more time of preparing her troops as well for this little charade that you're going to do.
Cool.
Which means then, with that being agreed on, you're also free to leave if you want to. Dythun, you would bring Rebus first back to your dwelling. Rayn, yes.
Just as we have been given our leave, and as Rayn and Delphine are walking out, I will just take Delphine's arm and say, "You did wonderful today, darling. Very most impressive. Our enemies don't stand a chance if we stand together. Oh, and I wanted to thank you for that beautiful wine you treated me before we took on this current mission. That lovely, lovely deep red we had was delicious. And I give you a red back in return." And I give her the potion of healing that I picked up.
Delphine will hold her hand up in a defensive manner, like, no, it's better if you keep this. I really don't need it. I really don't need it.
Not even as a token of my appreciation.
I still have a token of your appreciation. They take out the favor token.
Why not have this be a new trend? You keep things that could be helpful to you and just not use them, but keep them on your person.
Then, in the end, I would have a lot of things that I don't use that someone else could use much more.
Have you ever played a video game and you don't use any of the nice items because you're afraid that you're gonna need them later, so they're just in your bag?
So I will take I'm taking the health potion and stuff it in her bag, in Rayn's bag.
I let this happen as I'm being like roughly, as my backpack is being roughly handled. Like, oh, okay. Okay.
You need this
tried.
more than I.
I won't deny that, but I try to always have some tricks up my sleeve. And I walk out with her.
Beautiful. All right. So Rebus is being brought back to the dwelling. And Dythun, you want to check if you can still get some of that nice juicy fruit that you've been given earlier?
Yeah, the Baruki fruit.
The Baruki fruit, indeed.
He
which
wants
is a name,
like 8 of them.
which is a
Just
name
for
that
that.
I had
bad.
totally prepped before you asked me about the fruit.
Yes,
the
absolutely.
Baruki fruit. You, of course, with the imminent possible attack, there's not like any bustling nightlife at this point. Many of the shops have been closed in
It's
preparation.
supposed to be pretty late.
Right, but you do get also the sense here that even though it's late, the harpies don't really operate on like a strict like diurnal nocturnal day. So there's also still something going on at night while there's also stuff
Okay.
going on during the day. It's like there's
That
not
makes
like a
sense.
strict there's not like a strict
It's like
separation
New
of
York.
Right. It's the valley that never sleeps, and the you do most of the shops have been closed, but now with also the news spreading that any kind of invaders have been dealt with, you find like a few stalls that are open, and you can find a few of these fruits. You get the impression that they're not hard to find here. They're pretty abundant in this valley. So if you want to have 8 baruki fruit, you could get them from one of the merchants for 2 silver pieces.
Right. What else do they sell here? Do they, by any chance, have like weird, like tea leaves?
There would be herbs. You would come across the kind of herbs that they sell here, and you also already noticed on your stay here that there are these very strong-smelling bushes with herbal leaves on them. And you would also find a stall where you could get the ground leaves that could be used for brewing tea. Some of them have a bit of a more minty flavor, and you even find a kind of ground leaves that, as you take a whiff of them, it's like you're inhaling an entire fruit stand. There's like these orangey and lemony hints in there, but also a faint scent of grapes is something that you also get in there.
Do you he's gonna take some of those, some of the mint, and anything with a bit more of like a subtle kind of like a lavender. Like he just wants a bunch of tea, because he just kind of seeing like, hey, what kind of stuff grows here that I can make tea with that like is different from the kind of stuff you can get in Sharn.
How experienced would you say is Dythun in brewing tea?
He brews alcohol and tea equally.
Okay.
So, and he's proficient in brewer's supplies, so
Brewer's
like
supply.
fairly efficient at it.
Gotcha.
Okay,
So-
so
You can make a world tea ceremony.
Exactly.
I wouldn't say that regarding the lavender-esque things, there's not really any kind of typical tea leaves that you would find here, but you do find there is, while you're out here on the marketplace, you wander by a tree, and at its feet grows a bush with these crimson red flowers in there. And they have a bit of a lavender-esque smell to them. And you would be skilled enough in preparing tea to basically pick those flowers and grind them yourself and make sure that they're on the right temperature and everything. Yes.
Can I check to make sure they're not poisonous?
You would you would be are you proficient in nature?
No.
Can you give me a quick nature check?
This will be fun. Okay, that's a 16. That's not terrible.
That's a 16.
I get a -1 to those, so that's good for me.
Okay. Well, but also in combination, you are proficient with survival, aren't you?
I have a +2. I'm not proficient.
Okay. Well, you would on your journeys like kind of know that there's certain traits about plants that would tell them if they're possibly poisonous. And there's never a 100% sure way to know if something is poisonous without trying it.
I would say there is 100% sure way. It's just maybe not safe.
Oh god, it's the Airbender episode where Iroh is like, it's either the wonderful flower that gives tea or it's the wonderful flower that causes itchy poison rash.
And you don't see any kind of the typical signs on this plant that would tell you, hey, this is a dangerous plant to eat, digest, drink in any way. Also, going by what you've seen so far of the luscious life that is in this place, you're not sure, would this kind of place actually bring out poisonous flowers or plants? kind of up in the air, but for your tea making demands, it has the right kind of aroma, and you would know how to process it into some tea. But it would be up to making it and carefully sipping it to see if it isn't poisonous.
If only you had a machine that like is immune to poison and could tell you if things were poisonous or not.
Well,
Yeah, sure,
How
that
would
would be
they know
great.
if they're immune?
It's me, I am the machine.
If I may have another moment, he would try to blend the mint in that kind of red leaf
Mhm.
of tea that he had, and try to like brew some tea like later in the morning, and kind of like he would have Rebus kind of propped against the wall so they're not like slumped on the floor somewhere, and just like have the tea ready, sit next to them, and like basically all he's waiting is for Rebus to wake up so he can like brew it, and like he's
Okay.
waiting to have fresh tea with
That-
Rebus.
That would then be at a later point, if I understand it correctly. So you
Yeah,
would also
yeah,
be
yeah.
plucking some of those leaves. You would get some of the other plants and the
Mhm.
baruki fruit.
Yeah, after all that's taken care of, like when
Gotcha.
he gets back, like that's the plan.
Perfect.
If
Let's
it
keep
gets
that
that
in.
far.
Let's keep that in mind. While the rest of you in the evening that you still have, and also in preparations to the next day, is there anything that you would also like to do? I think Delphine, you mentioned if you want to look if they have some kind of smoking ingredients as well.
Yeah, with the mention of tea.
Not in the same stalls or places that Dythun is looking for, but you would find a place, and you come also across some harpies that actually, in the evenings, sitting outside their dwellings, are actually also smoking their own pipes as they sit here. And you could get some smoking grass that I'd say there's like you could get like a satchel that would be enough for 10 uses out of it for a silver piece.
Sure.
And it would have already smelling it is there's a bit of a earthy smell to it with a bit of a patchouli smell in it as well.
Yes.
And you can probably already imagine, and also the person that sells it to you tells you that this one, while smoking, feels silky smooth in your throat as you smoke it.
It's smoked.
Perfect. Any other important things during prep?
I need to refill my gun.
That is something where I do have to say, well, you can reload it with the bullets you still have, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm probably not getting any new bullets here, so
Nope,
but I need
not here.
to fill up the gun again.
Gotcha.
So that I have.
Are we fast forwarding a bit? Was Rebus getting repaired by someone else? Because depending on how much time has passed, Rayn would want to check on the status of that sapphire. How much shinier is it getting? How much louder it is? And she would do this in a private, secluded place.
Gotcha. I'd say we can forward a little bit. But Rayn, you would then look for a secluded place where you're unobserved, further away from people, and check up in your backpack on what the status of the sapphire is. You basically wander a little bit away from the village, from the more crowded parts, and find a nice little grove where you can, only observed by birds and insects, open the backpack. And as you already open it, you already hear coming from the box of the sapphire, you hear a slightly louder humming and musical sound coming from it.
Oh dear.
And as you lift the lid open, you really have to close your eyes because the light from inside the box is as if you're staring into the sun at this point. So it's like really you lift the lid and like bright beacon light coming out of it.
My. The little sapphire slivel or crystal sliver I picked up is nowhere near an intense. Does it emanate any light or sound? That sliver I picked up?
The sliver alone, not. No.
Interesting.
You could put it closer to the sapphire.
Totally.
Just shoves
you-
it in there.
No.
Are you gonna put it, like, lift the lid a little bit and hold the crystal close to the sapphire in the box? Or are you gonna keep the box shut and hold the crystal close to the sapphire while it's in the shut box?
No. I want I'm gonna make sure that I'm indeed secluded. Okay. And then with the box in my lap, with the lid cracked open, so I'm not blinding myself, I'm going to touch the little sapphire shard to the bigger crystal inside.
All right. You open the lid, put the shard close, and the moment you put the shard already closer, you can hear that there's another gentle sound coming from the shard that you have. And as you hear that sound, you feel that some invisible force pulls this shard out of your fingers, and zoop, you hear like a ding 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 coming from in the box, and the shard is no longer in your hands.
Did I sense the movement of that shard get pulled into the crystal?
Into the box at least.
Oh, you give that back.
Gentle singing and humming coming from the box.
That is very greedy of you. You have all that, and I just wanted a small piece. Can you not share?
Gentle music and humming coming from the box.
I stop to the nearest body of water, and I spend some time on chipping off another small piece that I will not touch to the sapphire again, but I want a souvenir.
Fair point. It's not hard to find any other patches or clusters of these crystals, and you can easily find a new, smaller, pebble-sized bit, which you will not get close to the sapphire, and still have a little trinket.
I return, and I'm mildly annoyed at this angelic, celestial-sounding, beautiful gem.
All right.
And my water bottles are all refilled with this magical water.
Oh, of course. I mean, Mino didn't say that you weren't allowed to take anything from this place, so you make sure of that, and eventually also find your way back to the dwelling, where Dythun made sure to put Rebus in a safe spot there. Rebus, you hear the singing of birds and find yourself under a glass rooftop. Not entirely glass. It is a dome of glass held aloft by a framework of steel and wood. Beautiful glass cage, large enough to hold a pond, to hold bushes and trees, and a meandering little path through them. Birds sing from atop the trees, exotic birds of paradise with this beautiful plumage to them. You see butterflies flying through the air, landing on blossoming flowers. And you see a boy walking through here, attended by an older man with a little bit of a hunched back, who calls over to the boy to be careful around the pond, not to fall in it. He would get wet, and the expensive fish would get startled by it. And he has to take care of his clothes. They still have appointments later in that day. The sun shines through the glass building that you're in. And you find yourself standing there, you, your regular self, but no cracks in you, no broken faceplate, no improvised secondhand plating or anything. Your entire form is a combination of strength and elegance. You are a fighter, but you are suitable also for the dining rooms and ballrooms of nobility in your presence. And you hear again this older man shouting, "No, no, stay, no, no, you should not touch the fish. Get your fingers out of the water." And the little boy just lets out this little childish laughter, happy that he can play with the fish and probably also happy that he's pestering his older teacher. While you're in this serene place, is there anything you would like to do, Rebus?
Well, I will start by a bit confusingly looking at myself just to. I have no recollection of being in a body that hasn't been put back together and it's still kind of broken. So it feels somewhat strange and unfamiliar to move around and hear no creaking and no grinding of gears or no other. The movement is very smooth and strange. I'd like to just walk around this beautiful place and perhaps go to where the boy and the older man are just to see their interaction a bit closer.
You walk over there and you walk on this gravel path here and you can hear the pebbles in the gravel under your weight shifting. You now also notice that next to the pond is this very small artificial waterfall. And for some reason, the way the waterfall works, there's a pump hidden in it, which basically cycles the water up and down, causing this eternal waterfall. You don't know why you know it. You can't see the pump, but you understand the mechanism. And as you approach, the older man turns towards you and he looks at you and then just goes like, "Oh. Well, if there's one thing you should be happy about, is that you don't have to deal with this boy's education. Always just want to mill about and splash about." And at that point, the boy actually splashes up some water towards his teacher. Oh, that does remind me. I think, shouldn't you? You don't belong here. No, this is not where you should be.
My apologies. Where should I be?
Oh, don't
I was
apologize.
Just going to offer my help.
It's understandable that you want to be here. It's a nice place. A nice place that you recall. It's not where you were. And as he says that, he looks at you, this older, kind of really bit sunken in face. And as you recall, your vision flashes as if there's a bit of static in your vision. And now there's not an old man standing in front of you, but you see this younger man who's maybe in his 20s. And you're on this smoke-filled battlefield. You hear in the distance, you hear the sound of artillery. And you just hold in your arms, you hold this man in his early 20s who looks at you. And he just stretches out a hand towards your faceplate. And you feel, even through your cold faceplate, you feel the warmth of his touch. There's blood all over him. And even though he's there, almost lifeless in your arms, he's still smiling at you. And he says, Don't forget the glass house. And then your vision goes again, flickers again. And you find yourself again in this beautiful glass house with trees and the birds and the flowers. And there's this man that you held in your arms, but he's looking fit and slender. He has a uniform on. And he stands there with another man that looks identical to him. They could be siblings, and they're just joking. You see them, you don't hear what they're saying, but they're laughing, and one is like punching the other in the shoulder. There's a woman behind them. You just feel her glare, but you can't really see the woman. You hear a voice again in your head going, this one has to go back to maintenance. We don't know what the consequences will be. And you hear another voice shouting, damn the consequences, this is revolutionary. Again, just flashing to the battlefield, holding the person in your arms. They're looking at you, still smiling at you. And they just say, don't worry. You gave it your all. And with those words echoing, you gave it your all. You gave it your all. You gave it your all. You suddenly feel the gyros and servos in your body spinning up again. And then eventually, as every process, every magical attunement in you is getting back up to process again, what you see in front of you is the dwelling of the harpies. And right across from you is Dythun, who has like his tea set and everything there. And Dythun, you see that there's a bit of movement in Rebus at this point. You're muted, Dythun.
He's gonna take the tinderbox, light a little like fire thing, and set the teapot on top of it.
Dythun?
Welcome back.
What, what happened? Are you making tea?
Yes. Making tea.
Is everybody okay?
Yes.
You do find yourself at this point, by the way, you see, if you look around through the windows in the house here, the light of morning comes through. The sun is shining again at this point. And if Rayn and Delphine want to be, you could also be in here at this point, unless you would have gone somewhere else in the morning.
For sleeping
I
and
don't think so.
morning? No, I would have
No.
been also
Hmm.
there for sleeping.
Okay.
Don't worry. A lot happened, but honestly, not that much.
Glad to hear. May
Oh,
I help you with the tea?
He pulls the glaive off his back. You drop this.
Thank you. So I did. I
Cat.
think some of my processing is not functioning properly. Hopefully I will be okay. I seem to have some scrambled memories. I need to piece some things together. But I'm happy to hear you're all okay.
Smell of tea lingers in the air as well. Dythun is brewing it.
Mm-hmm.
What's that I smell?
Dythun's just gonna
Oh,
take
it's
this like little
Good morning.
this
That
this
looks quaint. As I walk up to a Dythun sitting on the ground with tea sitting across from Rebus.
yeah, there's a
Is that for everyone?
tea set there that is it's like made of clay, and everything is kind of like the teapot is like a little askew, and like the cups all kind of have like a kind of an off shape to them. Like everything's made of like hardened clay, and they all look like really very functional, but like whoever made them did not do a great job. But they all have really eloquently and beautifully painted hyacinth flowers on them. Like the painting is really, really well done on these really shitty teacups and teapot. And he just starts pouring cups for anybody that's awake.
Oh. Why, thank you. If it smells nice, I'm just gonna drink it.
Did you use the plants from the bush for
Yeah,
this one?
it's that he made that mixture of like the mint with the other plant, and seeing how well those kind of
You're all
aromas
gonna
mix
die.
together.
Right. The blend, for going by the smell and everything, it is a beautiful blend of fragrance, and has a really, it's sweet but not too sweet. It caresses the nose as you inhale it. Rayn, you're gonna take a sip?
Yep.
Perfect. Make a cut. No, I'm joking. It's going to you take a sip. It's hot, but also as it goes over your tongue, you taste the sweet flavors of it. Goes
Oh.
down smooth.
Point of order. He definitely used the magic water to make this.
Oh, perfect.
Just to
Even
see,
better.
like, I wonder what kind of tea this makes.
Even better. And as you drink it, you also feel this. I'm not sure if Rayn is a typical breakfast tea drinker, but if she is, this is the tea that gave her the best wake up kick that she ever had. You just feel as if you did a great session of morning yoga without the without the muscle ache or anything. You just feel like you stretched well. Everything fits nicely together. The sun is shining. The birds are singing, and you
I
you
need
start
this
your
tea.
you start
my
your day
life.
off with 2 temporary hit points.
Yay! Excellent brewing. I think we should leave you responsible for morning tea from here on. I slurp my tea.
He's gonna hand one of the cups to Rebus, and then he's gonna drink some himself. So.
Thanks. I'll have some.
So, dreams, you said, Rebus.
Did I? I'm not quite sure if they would classify as dreams. I don't usually dream, but I think there are some memories that are getting crossed together, and hopefully I will find a way to separate them and, make sense of it. But I am a bit weary of why that's happening. A processing unit, just like a brain in an organic creature, is delicate, and it can affect how you perceive reality. So I wouldn't want anything wrong to happen in mine.
Dythun's
So
slightly thinking,
maybe
hope that didn't happen when I threw Rebus off the cliff.
Well, Rebus, if you ever need a technician of the mind to perhaps help you sort through some things, do let me know.
Oh, correct. Yeah, you're very right. You helped me so much last time. Maybe we can do that again. But I better make sure there's nothing mechanically wrong first. Maybe I should go see the artificer of the village, Rayn. Hopefully they'll be awake soon, I say, looking outside to the dawn.
That was the older looking harpy person, yes?
Yes,
Oh, old people are
Dythun
the
and I
first
spent
ones to
some
be
time with them.
awake. Probably shouldn't be a problem.
Well, I don't know about the physiology of harpies, but that is possible.
And you hear from the place where Delphine is sleeping, like, that would make you all pretty old.
Come on, Delphine, there's quite some lovely tea.
Can I
I'm
also,
asleep.
as
Good
you're
morning.
as you're all awake or getting close to being awake, could I get a perception check from everyone?
You've been rolling good, but maybe you've been rolling too good. So let's change up the dice.
Oh!
I rolled a 2.
Hmm.
4. Rebus is still rebooting.
Reboot us.
Rayn rolled us
14.
Yes.
13 for Dythun?
14.
14. Rayn?
16.
16. Delphine?
21 with a natural
21.
20.
See, the thing
Good
is,
of you.
Oh, finally someone's paying attention.
the thing is, sleepy ears are extra sensitive to sounds, so you of course pick this up more. But Rayn and Delphine, both of you in the morning conversation would hear a humming and singy sound coming louder from the backpack at this
Oh
point.
no.
And it gets audible at this point. If you're not talking here, if there's no conversation, people can hear the sound from the backpack.
You see Rayn just rubbing her temples. We might have another problem.
And as you say that, Rayn, that's where we're gonna cut out for today and see how you deal with that problem next
I
week.
actually have an idea. I have an idea about this.
Good.
Perfect. Then let's see what we're going to deal with next week here. Well, that was another session in the books. We had a little bit of fighting. We had a little bit of infighting. We had a
Good
little
boy.
bit of convincing the people in power to still, well, plot together with you.
Do not kill
And
us.
we're going to hopefully also next time see more of how you're going to get out of the valley. But that's a story for next week. And I'm happy to see all of you here back again next week. Before we head out for tonight, are there any kind of announcement, anything you would like to share with the viewers or anyone else?
Yes, I do have things. Okay, let me get some links. Wait, I wasn't ready for this. So first of all, one of the titles that I worked on, that I made some art for, has
forget
come out
you.
in DM's Guild. It's just a little PDF for a fighter subclass. Daylight Publications is actually publishing a lot of, oh, you got it, yeah. Daylight Publications is publishing now all of the different fighter subclasses that we did together in a course, so to speak, like a group. And this is one of them, and I made art for this one, and another one that still has not come out. But like, it's cool, and like, it's very much a character I kind of would play, because it's like a, you know, sword, swashbuckling sword fighter that can like dance while fighting. It's really cool. It's a cool idea.
Very cool.
That's number one. Number two, just reminding you about Queer Life Drawing, which happens every Sunday, and it's really cool figure drawing sessions, queer friendly and all inclusive and accessible, like super accessible for most disabled folks. And it's via Zoom, so like anyone around the world can join. And they have them every Sunday at 3 p.m. GMT. And next Sunday, the 13th, I'll be the model. So like, you know, you don't have to join for this session if you don't want to, but like, it's just overall, it's a cool program to like be a part of, because like if you want to have a bit of fun with art, you can have any level of art skill and just have fun with it. But this Sunday I'll be modeling, and that'll be interesting. So check it out if you're curious. And I think that's it. I'm probably forgetting something, but if I did, I'll just tell you next week. So.
And of course, people can, if there's anything that you want to announce, we'll probably also share it on your Twitter, which is @serialsnowings. So people can also free to
Indeed.
follow you there.
Yeah, follow me if you want to like hear me rant about things and be a human being. Also, remember to join our Discord if you want to join us for a small watch party for the Legend of Vox Machina.
Exactly.
We watched together the first 3 episodes and it was very fun. We couldn't join for the next 3, but we could also just have another like an extra watch party to watch the next 3.
Exactly.
And it's really fun because we just like sit down on Discord, like have a bit of a chat, comment the episodes as they come out, and it's fun. And like if you're into D&D, which seems like you are, it's a good place to share thoughts with friends. So
What's a D&D?
what you're saying, people are watching us because they like D&D? That's crazy.
All right.
yeah, we
indeed.
kind of butcher it a lot, so I don't know. I forget how to play a barbarian, so.
Happens.
All right. Next to that, any other announcement? Anything else anyone want to share? Anything coming up soon?
Oh.
Yes, Austin.
Just like I might start streaming on my own channel again at some point this week.
All right.
Yes!
And
I've missed
if
you
one,
so much.
if one were interested, where can they sign up for any updates of that, of you going to stream?
Twitch.tv/Starcrosser with an X because I'm extra.
Star X Rosser, yeah.
Yeah, Star X Rosser. Or my Twitter under the same
Rosser.
handle.
Exactly.
I may, if it's not hectic tomorrow, I may do like a short little test stream to make sure I remember how to do that tomorrow.
Cool.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
That's all I
so,
got.
I've been in their streams. I've been in their streams before. It was really fun, so I recommend.
Awesome.
It's a chill vibe, and
Try to
lots
keep
of
chill vibes,
lots of
but still
parroting.
fun. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Keep an eye on that as well. With that being said, I think that's everything for tonight then. We're going to head out. We're just going to go into our nice little tavern for the rest of the night. And we're going to be back next week at the same time. If you like what you saw here, feel free to follow us on Twitch or even subscribe here. Follow us on our socials, join our Discord, send us a pigeon with a letter, however you want to show your appreciation. But we're grateful you're here. Thank you for a nice evening. Take care, and hopefully see you back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.